Greetings, Earthlings. Today on Merry Meeples, we are going to be looking at the game Earth, a game by Maxim Tardif, presented by Connor McGooey from Inside Up Games. On the back, we got Earth, the soil that supports and sustains our beautiful planet Earth. Here's some more stuff. Simultaneous prosperity, stackable wood pieces, actual size. Includes a solo mode and team variant. And there we go. Bunch of cards. Here's all the components. Thanks to double-sided cards, there's bunches of... Thanks to double-sided cards, there are 20 islands, 20 climates, and 64 ecosystems, which means that there are 25,600 possible starting setups. Welcome to nature's diversity. So let's take it open up and look inside box of game. Words are hard at times. So one thing that Inside Up Games does, if you look in here, it looks like a bunch of scribblish. These are actually those who supported us on the first day. The first day supporters have all their names. Thank you to all these amazing backers who support us on day one of the Kickstarter. And thank you to the thousands of others who supported us throughout the rest of the campaign. So if you're back on the first day, they ask you for the name, and you get printed in this liner. That is pretty cool. So first up, we have this score pad. You'll see I have won both times. Quite handily the first game. The bride figured out come the second game. Next up, we have a rule book. Gaming rules. If you go on this QR code, we'll show you how to play this game. The game is pretty easy to understand. Here's a picture of the components, the shared setup, individual setup, getting started, the card information for the various cards, your turn action overview, activating abilities continued, and then they go over each colored action individually. The ecosystem cards, which are basically end of game scoring cards, the fauna cards, which are during game scoring cards, island cards, which are on your personal setup, which dictate your starting stuff, and then something throughout the game that happens, a climate card, which gives you a during the game ability. Here's the different earth cards that you might get, the flora, the terrain, the event. Example of a turn, very detailed. More, end game example, example scoring. And then here we have the end game and scoring victory points. We have a page of solo mode, and then team mode on the back with an index. Next up, we have an achievement sheet. We haven't quite filled this out yet, but my name would be on here quite plentifully. And it's all the different things you can do. Win the first game, win without having completed your island, win with over 300 points, win and have played more than 15 events. So kind of different things you can go to. Here is your fauna and ecosystem board. So here's the advanced side. You have where you put your fauna, and as you complete it, you put your leaf token here, and you get those designated points, and ecosystems go here. And first person to fulfill or fill their grid entirely, their 4x4, puts a leaf here. On the other side, this is the beginner side. Again, you still have that with the filling the grid. You don't have the ecosystem cards, but you still have the 4 fauna cards, but you only get 10 points each. Doesn't matter when you complete it. Next up, you have the different player boards. There are 5 of them. It'll come out. So along the top, it shows you your different actions. The top action is whoever's choosing the action does that. The bottom action is for everyone else, and then everyone activates these actions on their cards. Here's where your island card goes. Here's where your climate card goes, your ecosystem. Here's your mulch pile. There's where your events go. There's your 4 scoring tokens, and your soil goes here. Another reminder, you can turn 3 sprouts in for 2 soil. Then here's your resources, so this kind of shows you all the iconography through the game, and here's your end of game scoring. So this board has a cool picture. This board has a cool picture. This board, not a cool picture. This is your solo board. And then you go here. Here is Gaia's board. Actually, that might be the other team board. I lied. Here's your solo Gaia board. And then here is the team board. Next up, you have a bunch of cards. You'll see they're a little in disarray from me flipping the box over like a madman. So first off, you have these 6 cards. These are your solo cards. We have the Kickstarter edition. So this is a nice wood first player bit. Focus. Otherwise, it is just a token. Here is the active player token. You have a nice beautiful waterfall on one side and a cute polar bear on the other. I am not going to go through all of the cards, for there are quite a few. Just know there are plenty. Let me show you a few just to kind of get you an idea. So here's an event card. This costs nothing to play. It could possibly be worth negative points, and this lists its ability. So you have some event cards. Here's a terrain card. This is its habitat symbol. That's its cost. That's points at end of game. And down here it kind of tells you what it might do or how it might score points. And then here is the Flora cards. Again, they're habitat, cost, points at end. This is spots for sprouts. This is where you put its growth. This is its maximum growth. This is how many points at its maximum growth. And this is its ability when it triggers. So here you see this one has a maximum growth of 2 and scores 3 points. So that's there. As I said, a huge stack of them. And there's even some I missed on the bottom. Let's just get those out. This is a Kickstarter promo pack. This has 12 cards in it for the different months with either different ongoing effects or end of game scoring on the backs. You can choose to play your month in, deal one out randomly, what have you. Next up, we have the wood soil tokens. Again, we have the Kickstarter edition. So there are your wood soil bits. A little small, but they definitely make do with what you need them to do. Next up, again, wooden pieces. These are your leaves for your player colors. I did keep these in the box. These come from with the regular game. The cardboard punch outs for 5s and 10s soil. It's always just nice to have these handy. These are your sprouts. These are nice little green cubes that go on your boards. As you see, very basic green cubes, but they get the job done. I would say maybe a tad too big for the boards, but they still work. Alright, these are that whole diverse setup they were talking about. So, you start off. Here are the Fauna cards. As you may know, Fauna is animals. So each of these is double-sided, and you have a whole stack of them. And then flip it over. And here's alternate ones. So again, these you're going to score during the game. First person to complete them will put their leaf token on the board in the first spot. If both people do it on the same round, active player puts theirs first. Next we have the island cards. Fogo, Jamaica, Santorini. And then the other side, Deception, Barren, Wakari, Hawaii. Next up you have your climate cards. Marine West Coast, Rainforest, Deserts. And these are double-sided. So as you see, plenty of variety through the game. And this whole stack, I'm going to go through super quick. These are the ecosystems. So typically every person starts out with 1, and then 2 are placed out at the beginning of the game. And these are all end of game scoring that all have very different conditions between them. Like I said, plenty of those. Alright. Next up, let's go ahead and take these out and kick the box off to the side. So these are your growth tokens. You have your little trunks. And you have your top pieces. The colors don't matter, they're just kind of for difference. Let's go ahead and zoom in here. So as you see, they stack on top of each other. And then you cap it off. So that was an extreme shake, but typically a bump on the table. As you see, shaking, it's still staying pretty good. Those were the cards that fell. But see, that stayed. Cards fell, that stayed. That shows how durable they are. We've not had an issue with them except for the bride having like droopy sleeves has knocked them over. But otherwise, that is what's in the box of Madness Happening of Earth from Inside Up Games. Let's zoom on out here. Bloop. Earth from Inside Up Games. Have fun living on Earth.